Georgia's 6th district had a special election a few days ago. Republican Karen Handel, however you pronounce it, ran against Democrat John Ossoff, however you pronounce that, and she won. Karen Handel won. Now, this was a district that Trump won by less than 2 points. So basically at this point, given everything Trump's done and everything the Republicans are doing, this should have been a layup election for the Democrats. You might hear a different story coming from the corporate Democrats today, but that's the reality. If Trump wins the district by less than 2 percentage points and the Republicans have been doing what they've been doing, well, this should have been a layup for the Democrats. The fact that anything less would happen is pathetic and grotesque. So then, of course, the question is raised, why did the Democrats lose? Why did John Ossoff lose? And the answer is the same answer that we've been giving you all along. It's the same answer that came up directly after Hillary Clinton lost. It's the same answer that comes up when we discuss the fact that the Democrats have lost over 1,000 seats under Obama. The fact of the matter is, that's a dying/dead wing of the Democratic Party. So a Clinton strategist convinced Ossoff to run what they call, get this, the Panera Bread strategy. So in other words, you should appeal to suburban voters and moderate Republicans instead of trying to expand the base with working class voters and minorities and millennials. So this is the Democratic Party ignoring their base, telling their base to fuck off, part 9,312, because that's what they've been doing from the 1980s and onward. It's amazing to me that you already have the proof. You have the 1,000 seats lost by the Democrats. The Republicans hold, obviously, the presidency. Donald Trump is president, but the Senate, the House, most governorships, most state legislatures. Hillary Clinton just lost to Donald Trump, who was the most unpopular candidate literally ever. On the day that Trump won, he had a 60% disapproval rating. So you would think all the evidence was there that maybe our strategy failed and we should start listening to the progressives and the liberals and do the Bernie Sanders style approach. And Bernie's the most popular politician in the country. Nope. They decided to go with the Panera Bread strategy, and they lost. So Ossoff ran on deficit reduction. There's a way to get voters inspired. Deficit reduction. Deficit reduction. Okay. People are struggling, man. People are struggling. If you go out there and push for a positive vision and push for changes to the system that would help the average voter, that's what's going to make them want to vote for you. Not this detached concept of deficit reduction, which, by the way, economists even argue whether or not that's necessarily a good thing, especially at a time when regular people are struggling. A lot of them say, hey, you should do deficit spending in order to get people more jobs and spend more on social safety net programs so that people are okay. So you're taking something that's like a conservative priority, or at least in principle, they say it's something they want to do, and you're putting that front and center. He ran on deficit reduction. He said he wouldn't raise taxes on the rich, and he even said he'd fight a single step towards single payer. He doesn't want to take a single step towards single-payer healthcare. People reached out to us, Justice Democrats, in regards to this guy, and they were like, hey, this was early on in the process, before people really knew what was up. Hey, maybe why not think about this guy, John Ossoff? I mean, he might be somebody to throw your support behind and help out. I took one look at the guy, and I'm like, no. Because he's a loser. Because we're only going to swear by candidates who we know are married to progressive and liberal values. You go read our platform, justicedemocrats.com/platform, and then you compare that to what Jon Ossoff was talking about. The guy is just Republican light. That's what he was. And what's so funny is that the corporate Democrats were convinced. Oh my God, they were so utterly convinced that this guy was going to win. They were so utterly convinced. They see, we got exactly what we wanted. We got a neoliberal, centrist corporatist here who's going to go out there and do, smooth talking points. And he's young and he's good looking. And he's going to pull the wool over everybody's eyes and win because he's not as bad as the other one. Yeah. Well, it didn't work. For the 9,000th time, it didn't fucking work. How much more evidence do you need? And then a deeper problem is the whole campaign, apart from the shitty, positions I just told you, deficit reduction, not raising taxes on the rich, not going to move a single step towards single payer, the campaign was ran on Trump sucks. Okay, yes, we all agree, Trump sucks. And then you don't get to fill in the blank with, and then deficit reduction, and we're not going to do single payer. Because then people go, okay, well then fuck yourself. Why would we go, what, I'm going to run out to the polls to vote for that? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. You're not talking about things that tangibly affect my life in a positive way. And it's not enough to just say, that guy's bad, vote for me. Yeah, but apparently, based on your policies, you're not that great either. Now, let me be clear. The guy, it's obvious that he's better than, Karen Handel, but anybody is better. Like, that's not hard. And you're not inspiring people with a bold vision for the future. So think about it, man. Hillary Clinton, neoliberal corporate disaster, lost to Donald Trump. Most winnable election ever. Jon Ossoff lost to Karen Handel, who there was a scandal in the middle of the campaign because she bragged about being against a living wage. Corporate Democrats can't beat candidates who come out boldly against a living wage. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. And by the way, I already knew if Ossoff managed to hang on and win, that only would have been because of just how disastrous Karen Handel, whatever the fuck, was. But the Democrats would take all the wrong lessons away if that happened, and they'd say, see, corporatism and centrism and neoliberalism is awesome. Forget the fact that we lost 1,000 seats doing that same model and that Hillary Clinton lost running that same model, and just focus on this guy, because he won, but he didn't even win. He couldn't even beat a candidate who said, I'm against the living wage. Man, they are such losers. Now, guys, you need to understand something. All this stuff I'm talking about to you file under the duh category. This is like, of course, Kyle, enough. I'm tired of hearing the same fucking rant, the same spiel over and over and over. But you have to understand that people in the establishment, they look at us and me with everything I'm saying like I'm crazy. Like they've never heard this before and like it's fucking an idea that comes from Neptune. That's how they look at this. What are you talking about? There's no way that if the Democrats were to go more progressive and more principled left, that they would win. You fucking tried running to the right every single time. How many times? You know what their takeaways are going to be now? You know, what we should have done is we should have ran further to the right and then we would have won. So be more like your opponent. Then you're not presenting an alternative to your opponent. You're saying, we're the lighter version of them. Vote for us. No, it turns out when you give people the choice between Republican light and Republican, they go Republican. But if you give them the choice of a strong progressive or liberal versus a Republican, well, proof's in the pudding. Look at the poll numbers. Look at Bernie Sanders. Most popular politician in the country, 61% favorability rating. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are down at 35%. And then on top of that, again, the most important point that the establishment has never acknowledged or looked at or gone, that's interesting. Bernie's agenda is popular. The progressive agenda is America's agenda. It's that simple. People say, the country's center-right. That's something you hear all the time. They're going based off an old poll where they ask people, hey, how do you describe yourself? And most people said, I'm center-right. I'm moderately conservative. That's what most people would say. But here's the reality. People don't know all the details and the specifics and the nuances of what your positions are and what that makes you on the spectrum. So when you go issue for issue, turns out it's not even that they're center left. The American people are just left. They're just left. So we've shown the poll before on the show, but Vox commissioned a poll during the election, and Vox was no fan of Bernie Sanders. They were more in the Hillary camp than anything else. But they did a poll on Bernie's policy positions. They're like, well, gosh, he seems to be very popular. Yeah, no shit. Single payer, Medicare for all, incredibly popular. Free college, incredibly popular. Raising taxes on the rich, incredibly popular. So, and it's not just with those, it's with the overwhelming majority of Bernie's platform. So when we come out here and we say, hey, maybe Democrats should embrace that platform, that's the most obvious thing in the world and the clearest thing in the world to all you guys, because you guys are sane. But the establishment, nope, they never considered it. And if anybody did bring it up, they laughed it out of the fucking room. They go, no way, the answer is always to move to the right. Well, you keep fucking losing doing that. But then here's the other angle to it. They also feel like they can't go left, because if they go left, they're snubbing their donor base, the corporate Democrats are. And they are married to them above their constituents by far and away. All the campaign contributions they take from Big Pharma, from the private health insurance companies, from Wall Street, they feel like, okay, so we have to grandfather in doing favors for the corporations and the billionaires. That's how they think. Like, okay, that's a given. We got to do favors for the people who funded our campaign, and then maybe we'll sprinkle in some stuff that helps the people after the fact. No, the whole model is wrong. You need to stop taking money from the corporations and the billionaires and the PACs. People have been going after Nancy Pelosi. Even some other Democrats were like, Nancy Pelosi seems to be more disliked than Trump. You bring up Nancy Pelosi in a House race, and the Democrat just loses because they tried to tie Ossoff to Nancy Pelosi. And you know what the response was from Nancy Pelosi's spokesperson? I'm not kidding about this. They go, oh, come on, why would you throw Nancy under the bus? She's our biggest fundraiser. That's the problem. That's the problem. Is that everybody knows how corrupt she is and how she's a corporate Democrat extraordinaire. So when you tie a Democratic candidate to her, they go, they must be corrupt as well. They must be incredibly corrupt. So look at how lost, they're so lost that they brag about their fundraising still. Don't. Okay, the answer is Justice Democrats, guys. I need you to understand that. Our candidates take no corporate money, no PAC money. So they represent the people, because that's who they're getting their funding from you. They want to look out for accountants and construction workers and cashiers and regular people working regular jobs. And what they stand for and what they believe in is laid out in that platform. JusticeDemocrats.com/platform. Go read that. Go read that right now. Sign your name in support of the movement. Guys, this is important, man. This is important. And by the way, I've mentioned this a million times, but I got to mention it a million more, because we need it, because we're at an institutional financial disadvantage, because the corporate Democrats just go to a few billionaires or a few PACs and get giant checks and they can fund their entire campaign. We have to go directly to the people in small amounts. So we're doing a fundraising drive this month. We're trying to raise $500,000 for all of our candidates. We have a lot of candidates, and we have to do it from you guys, from regular people, from working people, because our candidates represent you and only you. And they believe in Medicare for all. They believe in free college. They believe in a New Deal. They believe in ending the wars. You go down the list. They're for what you're for. So, and by the way, JusticeDemocrats.com/donate if you want to donate. And as I've mentioned before, at Secular Talk, we're doing a shirt drive where half the proceeds go to Justice Democrats. So if you want to go that route instead, then you go to booster.com/Secular Talk shirts. I know I'm getting a bunch of the shirts. There's the older generation ones, and then there's the newer ones there. And by popular demand, we even brought some blue shirts in. Because we do blue behind me when we do the special announcements and stuff. We said, fuck it, let's throw the blue ones in there also. So booster.com/Secular Talk shirts if you're interested in that. But the Democrats will never learn, man. The Democrats, the corporate Democrats are just a total lost cause. They are enemies standing in the way of fixing the Democratic Party. And by the way, they're destroying the country, because when you're so shitty that you let the even bigger monsters, the Republicans, win, and you refuse to learn and change, you're just handing over a permanent majority to the Republicans. And the Republicans are destroying the fabric of this country in every way imaginable, whether it be with regulatory policy, environmental regulatory policy, Wall Street regulatory policy, cutting taxes for the rich, doing even more wars, giving even more handouts to corporations and billionaires. You name it. They're ruining everything. And there is no effective opposition party. And they're married to perpetually losing. So, yes, you blame the corporate Democrats in part for the rise of the Republicans. And we have to fix that. We have no option. We have to fix that for the future.